the train next week. So we're happy to have Jean Fox here today. She's the Director of Public Engagement for the MBTA South Coast Rail Program. Jean has been ardently advocating for the enhanced public transportation options in southeastern Massachusetts for decades, recognizing the benefits of reliable transit links for economic opportunity and smart growth. She served as Mass DOT's project manager for South Coast Rail from 2011 to 2019, taking the project through design, environmental review, and permitting. Upon completion of those processes, the state-funded project then moved to construction with the MBTA in 2019, where Jean continued her work as the Director of Public Engagement. She has conducted numerous public meetings throughout her time with the South Coast Rail, and she oversaw the development of information and materials to keep the public apprised of progress. She's a resident of Freetown, a former selectman, and served 22 years on the Freetown-Lakeville Regional School Committee. She also serves on other boards and foundations and is the only member of the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women from this region. So let's give a warm welcome to Jean Fox.
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
I love talking about this project,
Yes.
just in case you didn't notice. And of course, it's even more exciting now because we really are about to launch. I'm going to just sort of walk you through some of the things that we've done, maybe. Uh-oh, that froze. There we go. So this, you'll remember, I think from many of you have seen this before, but the phase 1 portion of the project covers the entire southern triangle of what we've talked about doing Stoughton. So the southern triangle goes from Middleborough over to Taunton and then down to Fall River and New Bedford. That's 50% of the track miles that you would have needed if you could have built Stoughton. And why didn't we build Stoughton right away? One reason was electrification, the other was money. We already own all these tracks. We can get people on trains between our region and Boston faster, and that was the purpose of going with phase 1. So you see 6 new stations. In fact, the Middleborough station is 5/8 of a mile from where the old station was in Lakeville. And the reason we couldn't keep that there is because of the way the tracks are aligned there, it would have required a reverse move. So that's another 20 minutes plus a big brake check and all the other fancy stuff you have to do when you're operating a railroad. So we moved it. The station in Lakeville will remain operational for the Cape Flyer service, which currently is seasonal. And then ultimately down the road, the Cape is still talking about their desire for service as well. And I've told them, give yourself 4 decades, because that's about what it takes. So we did the 6 stations. There are 2 layovers. The MBTA's policy is to have your layover stations as close to the terminal ends of the line as possible. So we have Wamsutta in New Bedford, which is right there where the station is. And then we have Weaver's Cove, which is just up the road, a little bit north of the Fall River Depot station. Both of those were among a number of selected areas. They're perfect for the locations. Layovers are not where you do major maintenance. Yes, sir.
Did I miss something? What's a layover?
Okay, it's a place where they go to bed at night and get up in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So rather than have the trains all go back to Boston or Reedville or wherever, they have a home at night. And they have a place to get up in the morning and go. So they clean the trains there. They may do minor, oil the squeaks, things like that. Major maintenance would not take place at a layover facility. So let's see. Whoops, gotta go back one. So I wanted to kind of walk through the tale of the railroad with you, and probably many of you remember all this. In 1958, the last trains between this region and Boston ran. The interstate highway system was fully operational. That post-war, every car in a driveway mantra was there. Railroads just became unfashionable and fell into financial distress. So they terminated service to the region in '58. But then from the 80s to 2007, we had a number of governors who wanted to start looking at it again because there was a hue and cry. So remember when the Southeast Expressway opened and Route 24 opened, that was all in the 50s as well. They were almost immediately over capacity. And by the 80s, people were feeling that pain. You get on 24 and it's, well, right now it's awful, but even back then it was difficult. So there was starting to be some talk in the region about maybe we should look at getting trains back running. And they had noticed that in other parts of the Commonwealth, those trains were really helpful. Not just for getting cars off the road, but from getting to point A to point B safely and reliably. So Dukakis, Weld, and Patrick all took some steps to launch it again, and it always starts with an environmental review process. So in 2007, under the Patrick administration, the plan for action was released. 65 alternatives were discussed. Those were reduced to 5. And then we finalized the agreement that we needed to do to, on that southern triangle, purchase those tracks from CSX, which at the time owned them. So now that's all MassDOT owned property. Then in 2009, what did we do in 2009? Big, huge thing. We developed the Economic Development and Land Use Corridor Plan, which actually won awards. It was about smart growth. It was about planning around proposed stations. It was about helping communities be engaged in the process of not only welcoming a train, but welcoming the growth and development that goes with it. It sort of set the stage for how other large linear projects now advance, because you have to plan ahead of time. In 2010, we got Tiger money. You'll remember that was a recessionary period. There were some grants to do some infrastructure projects. That gave us money to fund repairs to 3 rail bridges in New Bedford. We had put in to also do an intermodal facility in New Bedford. We didn't get funded for that, but we took the money for the bridges. And then in 11 to 13, working with the Army Corps of Engineers, MassDOT and the Corps did issue a draft final environmental impact statement and report, and we began some early action work on 5 grade crossings and 4 bridges, and then we did a bunch of tie and ballast work, because I don't know how these freight trains were operating on those tracks. They needed help. So we got some work into that. And then finally, in 2014, we got the bond bill. Money, state funding to actually construct South Coast Rail. And in 2018-19, hi Grace, it became apparent that the Stoughton route was going to have enormous environmental hurdles, complex structures like the trestle across the Hockomock Swamp, and all kinds of stuff that would have created more delay, and there was finally consensus on Beacon Hill that this region's waited long enough. We have track we can use. We can connect these folks. Let's do phase 1. So that money was put in the bond bill, and we were able to actually begin to bring service to our region, which was enormously helpful. But it's not done yet, because in 2019 to 20, the early construction contracts were completed. We did 46 culverts, a whole bunch of bridges and crossings, and we did demolishing at areas that would be future stations. In 20, our major construction projects launched. We had a $159 million project with Skanska DW8 for the Fall River Line, and a $304 million project with Middlesex Tudor Perini to do the Middleborough line, the New Bedford line, and all the signals. In 2024, all the construction's done. We started back in June with testing and commissioning, because this, believe it or not, railroads are complex and pretty high tech. So the signal systems especially, very rigorous and robust testing protocol involved with them. But we got through that, and we anticipate service will begin next Monday. Yes. So what we did, again, June we started test trains. Keolis actually started dispatching in July of 2024. And then we had to do the automatic train control and the positive train control testing, thousands of tests. That was completed last January, and then Keolis took over operations in January. So our local freight operator was actually doing the dispatch and operations. That was taken away. It's now Keolis, which is the MBTA's operator, who's doing all that. And then we had to involve the FRA through the New Starts process. So back at the beginning of this month, the FRA came down, all the departments looked at everything we did, got on the train, wrote it as if it was on the regular schedule, and we came out of that looking pretty good as well. So that's what I just talked to you all about. Never mind. I'm going to go on to the next one. I would like you to see these stations here. So here are stations all complete. They're almost, 5 of the 6 are classic commuter rail stations. They are a platform with a canopy, parking, including EV parking and bike parking. Many of them have a transition plaza for drop-off and pickup. The one station in East Taunton is far more complex, and that's because it's what we call a center island platform. It's got tracks on both sides. And because of that, for accessibility and safety, we had to add some redundancies. So that one's got bridges and ramps and elevators and all kinds of stuff. So that one has a lot more to it, and that's why it took the longest to build. But the others are all pretty much the same, the side platform versus center island. And then the other thing we had to do with this project, to get people in New Bedford safely across Route 18 and Acushnet Avenue without trying to kill themselves to get to the train, we put in a pedestrian bridge. This bridge was jointly developed with the city. Really happy to say we had a number of departments in the city. We worked probably 2 years together on the design and on all the details. This would not be a bridge that the MBTA would build. They would never build the arches. The bridge would have been a basic bridge with a canopy over top of it. But because New Bedford said, nope, this has to be iconic, it has to look good, it has to be a draw into the city has agreed to take over ownership and maintenance of this bridge, which is why it's so pretty. The artwork on the glass for the elevator tower, a local artist really did beautiful work on that. If you're down there, certain times of day are actually better, but even backlit at night, each side represents a season and speaks to New Bedford and its heritage. So we're really psyched about that. It looks beautiful. If you're down on 18 or Acushnet at night, look up and it's gorgeous. Very, very proud of that. And the ugly structure that existed as a pedestrian bridge there is soon to be demolished. They've done some abatement on it. We didn't want to get in the way of the half marathon, but certainly in the next couple of weeks that will come down. And then as you're heading south on 18, this will be the site you see. And it will be really, really nice. Super excited about that. So just by way of review, the Federal Railroad Administration is what, for us, the New Starts process. I told you we did the automatic train control and the positive train control, signaling. That's all the stuff that makes the train talk to the whole signal system. It's a safety, federally mandated safety piece of it. So for example, PTC, if it knows where every train in the area is, it knows how fast it's going, it knows which direction it's traveling. It also knows, oh, up ahead there's a construction zone. Does the engineer know that? Let me send a signal. If the engineer doesn't see the signal, PTC kicks in and stops the train. It's wonderful that we have these. It's across the country now. Actually, I think everyone was supposed to have it back in 2018, but we're all there now. We had to do a safety certification program, literally go through block by block, check every bridge, every culvert, every wall, everything had to be safety certified. And then, you know, we obviously, there was strict adherence to industry design and construction standards, our safety cert, and now, right now, the trains that are running, that I'm sure you hear, are for qualifying personnel to operate and run those trains. So that's why they're not running in any particular order. They may do a corridor back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but it's to get people so that when we're ready to start revenue service with real passengers, they know the route inside and out and upside down. Yes, ma'am?
So there has been trains.
Oh, tons of them.
I hear them. I
Me too.
hear them near my house. My grandson is very happy. But, yeah.
Yeah, so there have been.
First I said, maybe it's freight, but then I said, no, it's too often.
It's funny, you know, we did try to get the word out on that, but I heard from Middleborough today, they wanted to announce to the select board, same thing, people see the trains, I thought, well, did I miss it? Did it already start? No, it's not starting yet, this is all part of those qualifying runs. So technically the end of our testing and commissioning piece. So we are still waiting for FRA to bless us. Usually that doesn't happen until right before anyway, so we don't anticipate any major problems with that. We went through the demonstration service very, very well, and we've been partnering with them over the whole construction process, so there were no surprises. It's a big project, there's no question, with a lot of different pieces, but there were no surprises. So again, we're scheduled for March 24th, dependent on FRA approval, but we're really psyched about that. And just to advise you on fares, I've had a lot of questions on this. We are Zone 8, which is what the Middleborough Lakeville line is. So full fare is $12.25 each way. Reduced fare is $6. I already have my card. You just get a little card online and it says you got reduced fares. I have to keep it up front so I don't lose it, but there it is for senior citizens.
So how do we get that?
You can go on any MBTA website and check out the different things. I mean, I ordered the card first, and I just did that online. There's a place where you go. You can even check out M-Ticket, which I have on my phone, and that also gives you details. So just go to the MBTA, search tickets, and they'll give you all the, I literally did it online. I had to upload a picture of my license, and they said, thank you, you'll get it in 5 to 7 days, and I got it in 3. So I know people are a little concerned about how to do this with the phones and everything else, but it'll fall into place. You can still get them on the train.
So
Oh, good. I was wondering about
Yes.
for us poor Luddites.
Yeah, well, people have to learn. I mean, it's not something that we've done since, in 1958, they didn't have M-Ticket.
Does this wipe out the senior Charlie ticket?
I think you need a separate ticket, I have to,
That's
yeah.
for the T.
Yeah, I think this is, commuter rail is separate.
Yeah, it is.
Sandra?
Is senior 62 or 65?
5. I know, everyone's telling me that, so close, but I'm past that. So I'm
Yeah, no,
good.
maybe a couple of years,
Okay,
so-
thank you.
But I encourage people to go, actually, the MBTA website is not an animal to use. And M-Ticket is really nice, because when you download that to your phone, it gives you schedules, it gives you a place to report a problem, you can even upload a picture if you're on the train and something isn't right, which shouldn't ever happen, but in the event it does, I find it comforting to know I can report it promptly. So the M-Ticket app is what you want. It's got the T in a purple background, can't miss it. Just download it, quick and easy, and that gives you so much basic information.
And that's an app for your phone.
Right, right.
I'm sorry, what was the name of that app?
M is in Mary, ticket, all one word.
M-Ticket.
Yeah, and it's again, it's a T with in a purple circle. So General Manager Eng also said that we're gonna offer fare-free service for all the weekends between when we open till the end of April. And that will include Patriots' Day, because that's holiday, which is the same as weekends. And then the actual parking is gonna be free entirely, week-long, daily parking. But your parking in Zone 8 is 4 hours during the week and 2 hours on the weekends. That's not killer. Although I will tell you, people will do their best to avoid paying that and park in neighborhoods. So I would encourage you, certainly not here, in New Bedford it's more of a problem, not for you, but I know some of the neighbors in New Bedford were a little concerned that people will want to skip the $4 and go park in front of somebody's house.
That's a day, per day.
Per day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no package deals on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a convenient walking distance away from Church Street. I don't
Oh,
care.
perfect. That's actually great. And we do encourage people to bike and ride and take the bus as much as possible. Mode shift is where it's at, right? And also you can take your bike, if you want, on the commuter rail. Well, that's basically it. That's what it looks like. Let me see.
Are you allowed to bring it on?
Yes.
You
Yes.
don't have to tie it to the front of the train?
Oh.
No.
Can you do it?
No, I've seen that. I've totally seen that. That's not what you have to do. Here's your M-Ticket app information. I forgot I had it right here. And I don't show what it looks like, but it's really great. The best way to do anything is to get, that's it, the purple T. Yeah, thank you. They really do try to make it easy. I am not comfortable with all this technology either, but they really have made it pretty user-friendly. And I have used it. I have used it on the train flawlessly. And again, you can also hit up the conductor. However, sometimes if you board the train at a station where there is a fare vending machine, which would be Boston, not here, they charge extra. So South Station would charge you extra if you didn't have it. It's kind of terrible, but that's what happens. Buy it ahead of time, get your M-Ticket.
How about monthly passes?
They have monthly passes too.
So that's
Again,
still-
I get online, I
that's
look at
still a
those.
thing.
I'm actually working with UMass Dartmouth to see if we can get some student discounts too, because I know Bridgewater does that. I don't think it's a huge discount, but it's a discount nevertheless, and when you're a student, every little bit helps. So the schedule, which you can't read, is up there, and it's also on the M-Ticket app. What we did when we started planning for this was we planned 26 trips every day, roughly 13 to each city, and that would have been 3 peak period trains to each Fall River and New Bedford, 3 peak period trains to each, so AM and PM, right? So that's what they get, and then a couple during the day, because then we were thinking of this strictly as a commuter option, right? What we've been able to do, first of all, the MBTA has learned a lot since COVID, and that trains are not just for commuters, that people go for other reasons, and that, having some good midday service is also desirable and will be used, and is being used on other lines, that they've, done some tweaking to schedule. So we've increased the 26 trips to 32 during the week, with 15 on the Fall River line and 17 on the New Bedford leg. What we are also doing is adding connecting trains, and I'll explain what that means. I'm in South Station and I want to go to New Bedford, but the next train out of South Station is going to Fall River. I get on that Fall River train, I go to East Taunton, and there's a connecting train there that will take me to Fall River. So it gives you options. You don't necessarily have to wait for where it falls on the schedule, and it works the other way too. So what they're doing, and they've done that in 2 other places, I think they do it in Beverly, and I can't remember the name of the other, but that connecting train doesn't tax South Station, which is our big problem, because there's just no real estate there, but it does offer more robust service for us. So, and they don't expect any more than a 10-minute shoulder there. So you'd get off and then hop right back onto a train that's taking you where you want to go, which I thought was really, really cool, and I never knew they could do that, but they're doing it. We're offering 26 trips during the weekend, so that is, less robust service, but still pretty good considering. And people can go up and do a show on the weekend or a game. Everyone's real happy because there is going to be a late train too, so I cannot tell you how many people said to me, is there going to be a late train because I want to go to a game or I want to go to a show. It isn't all about going to work or the school or even healthcare. There's other things we want to do in the greater Boston area, so that late night service is going to be really exciting for people, and I think it's going to see some pretty decent use going forward. So we figure about 70 minutes between trains during the week, and then that's up to almost 2 hours, 120 minutes on the weekends. So it's not going to be called South Coast Rail anymore. It's going to be the Fall River New Bedford line. And that's a naming protocol that comes out of the MBTA. Fall River's first because it's the westernmost on the route. So it's going to be called the Fall River New Bedford line. And the station that's currently called the Middleborough Lakeville Station, which actually lives in Lakeville, is going to be called the Lakeville Station. It's not. I said to you earlier, it's going to be for the Cape Flyer primarily, and then our new station on West Grove is going to be the one that serves South Coast Rail, or the Fall River New Bedford line, which is exciting. There's our little spider map. It's official. I'm trying. It froze. There we go. Again, the parking is going to be $4 during the week and $2 on the weekends, very similar to others that are in Zone 8. They all have accessible and electric vehicle parking, and at least one of the accessible parking spots has EV parking also. Again, the pay by phone, and the free parking, I mentioned all that. None of this is new, sorry. And this is me. We talked about this informally coming in. People can't be on the tracks. We had years and years and years where we could walk the dog. We could even ride our bike along. We could do all that stuff that we just can't do anymore. So please discourage anyone you know who has an ATV or a dirt bike that likes to go out along the tracks. It's 2 things, incredibly dangerous because they can't hear anything, and it also actually has negative impacts on the infrastructure. It ruins the ballast, the ties, and all that stuff. And it's illegal. Mostly, it really concerns me that they would never be able to hear. So anyone you know, grandchildren, anyone, tell them to stay away. We've worked really hard on that messaging. I got 4 emails today about people walking dogs on the tracks. So we need to stop that. We just stay away from the tracks, period. It's just not a safe place to be, and we do ask that everyone observe the flashers and the gates when they come down at grade crossings. Sometimes in the winter, there'll be some malfunctions. Salt gets into the mechanism and can mess up the signals a little bit. If that's the case, we have a blue sign, a blue ENS sign, which looks like that. If you see a problem at any crossing, somebody stuck, or the signal or going up and down, up and down, up and down, that happened once. That's the number to call, that 1-800-522-8326 number. That is a central dispatch phone number. Those signs are posted at every grade crossing with an identifier. See, that was the Brightman Lumber one. They can tell the train, any train in the area, that a problem at this particular crossing has been alerted, they've been alerted to it, and trains will do a stop and protect. If they're coming on it, they have to stop and protect the crossing before they proceed. We just had this happen at Tarkin Hill.
Last couple of weeks with the wind.
Yeah, bad. We had the west side gates going down, the east side gates not going. We had.
Well, didn't they actually break one of the?
Oh, that happened. Yeah, that happened. We had a gate break. They are designed to break away if somebody hits them. This is a learning process, folks. That when you see those lights, please stop, because that means the gates are coming at crossings. Fall River doesn't have a single crossing, but everywhere else there are crossings. So please, do stay aware. And these blue signs are not big, but they're definitely blue. So if you happen to see anything, I don't anticipate anything major. I mean, some learning and growing pains as we all learn to navigate this whole new climate that we're living in now with commuter rail. But everything we can do to share the messaging and let people know is going to be helpful down the road. So that's the sum total of what I have to tell you. Yes, sir.
Questions on parking. Say you're going to pay by phone. What happens if you don't have a phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Credit
happens
card?
with that?
What about pedestrians? Somebody, or can you, how do they know who's in that parking lot has paid?
Oh, they surveil them, they do surveil them, and they have
But-
license plate readers and all of that. So I used to have the answer to that question, and I'm not remembering it, but I'll email Sandra with it, because that's important.
So
to know.
$4 cash money is
Well, remember, you used to be able to stick it in the slots.
Yeah, with some effort.
Yeah, even when it was just $2, you're standing there and here comes.
Especially just about, as the train is about to depart.
Yeah. I will write to Sandra on that, the parking question. That's a good question.
Another question is, can you leave your car in that parking lot overnight?
Yes,
No.
but the best way to do it,
says no.
the sign says no overnight parking, but here's the deal, if you pay for it, you can. But that would be on your phone. I've done it. I parked there for, I think the max is 5 days. And I actually had someone looking into that for me, because I had somebody who wanted to park, take the train to Boston, and then do his trip to Europe, which was gonna be more than 5 days. And I don't have anything back on that. I surmise that as long as there is adequate parking and you pay, they're not gonna bother you. But I know I did it.
What about integration with the local transit? Like
New buses?
Serta,
Yes,
Gatra.
Serta and Gatra, we've worked with them from the beginning on this. And
Well, I know they've changed the route numbers
Changed the routes.
in Fall River and New Bedford. I didn't notice any change in the numbers in Taunton and Attleboro.
Well, Gatra had earlier service,
Mhm.
right? So they could hit those early trains without really affecting their schedule. SRT had to do a little more work on that. They had,
Well, I had heard that someone said that the Serta routes hadn't changed to drop off directly at the stations. There's only downtown. In other words, if you're on the main line, shall we say,
yep,
on New Bedford, you're still going to have to. They're not going to go down to the station. You still have to walk
well,
across the
that's
bridge.
because New Bedford's gonna own that station.
Yeah.
Church Street, they should be able to drive in and drive out.
I haven't seen any
So,
indication of
a
that.
lot of these stations were designed so that buses could do
And I'm
that.
not too sure of the Fall River routes. I know that they have a Main Street
Well, they're right on the main street. They don't
Yeah.
have to go in at Fall River because it's right there. So they can
Duval
stop.
Street is the
It's the side street.
driving in
Yep,
portion,
yep.
so.
Yep. So, and remember, they're redoing Route 79 right now in that
Oh,
general area. So, oh yeah, that's memory.
So,
But, yes,
so is it a two different trains, like the Fall River train and the New Bedford train would both be heading to Taunton, but they would be two different trains?
yeah, and slightly
Yeah, in
different
other words-
times. They're not going at the same time. are they?
So if you're gonna go to Fall River, you need to take the bus like usual,
Yeah, the Route 9.
yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
Well, it used to be 20. but
That's the
now
only
it's
one they
5.
didn't put a prefix on.
Oh,
It just says 9 intercity now.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, they've really worked hard to amp up their service. They really have. Eric Russo's done a fantastic job there. I can't praise him enough for, I remember years ago, we did the transit development plan in New Bedford where we looked at all the routes, what the ridership was, what the demographics of the ridership was, and that was back in, I think, 2010 or 12, something like that. And they, at that point, he was still pretty new, but they did do some revamping right then, and that was back then almost unheard of. Nope, this is the route, that's what we're doing. And he's really worked hard to make sure that it is meeting the needs of the people who use it, and encouraging others to use it. And the free fares didn't hurt. Yes, sir.
When you spoke about the bridge going over Route 18, it sounded like that's not open yet and won't be open next Monday.
Well, we are hoping it is. It has, they had 2 final inspections on mostly having to do with the elevator, maybe the generator. We want it to be open, or should be available for use. If it's not, it's shortly thereafter.
Okay.
But we are definitely, once that is in, the other one's definitely coming down.
Okay. The next question is, the first-time user, let's say I want to go on the 24th and go at a later train, not the first one, I'm sure that'll be packed with
Packed,
people.
yeah.
But if I took the third one, can I go down there, buy tickets as I get on the
You
train?
can buy them on the train.
And the only way I can pay for parking, though, is through the phone.
See, that's the question I have. I thought there were, I think, you might be right.
It appears they discontinued it, I believe in 2023.
Well, they did get rid of the little slots because they were vandalized.
You can also pay it online.
No, I understand that, I'm just thinking, if I'm gonna go get on the train, I don't wanna get all excited and get down there and find out I've screwed the parking up.
Pay by phone. So, let me look that up.
No cash at all.
One of those.
Has
That was for the tea.
has it expired?
Well, mine might be expired.
Where do they cash?
I got $10 on
Just
it.
left your card on.
Well, I went up to Boston via commuter rail from the Middleborough Lakeville station years ago, primarily to give it a try, and also to go to the transit store in the tunnel to take
phone
value
number.
from an expired Charlie card and a Charlie ticket and put them on this card. This card has expired, so that gives you an idea.
You can pay using a phone number.
Using your own cell phone number.
But
Yep.
that's a different.
No, there's an actual phone number.
Dr. Approach,
On
the tunnel.
So I always just buy them.
888-941-9716.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it gives you an idea.
I'm trying to pick that app.
So, you know what
I'm having an awful lot of.
you're having trouble with
the
this M-ticket?
No, I'm having trouble getting to the one that seemed to be specific for the commuter rail. The MBTA one has come up.
And now he doesn't.
Well, I just, for the
Those folks
parking
on
question,
CERT,
I
too.
went to MBTA Pay by Phone, and it takes you to a site on the MBTA website with a phone number. And so you can call in and probably use your debit card or something.
So I need 2 apps. I need the
No,
app for,
that's not an app. That's just a phone number.
but,
You can do a parking app.
okay. All right, I'll have to sort it out.
But M-Ticket is, it is real easy to use. Parking payment online, parking by phone, yeah, you can do it online or by phone or just with the app.
Is it one of those deals where you put the thing on your dashboard and they know your...
No, no, it's all done electronically now.
Well, how's the guy at the place over there gonna know he's not supposed to put a ticket on your car?
They know license plates.
They have a reader, I've seen them.
Yeah,
The
when you,
license plate.
when you pay for the ticket, you have to put your plate
Yes.
number in.
Um,
So that's how
It's
they
like
know.
going to
I'm
Disneyland.
looking at that app to buy
Disney.
tickets,
You ever park in Plymouth?
Yeah,
and it has all the stations, Back Bay, North Station, Abington, but there is not a New Bedford or a Fall River. Does that
yeah,
not
they may
become
not have
live?
that until we're live,
So that may not become live till the 24th.
may not.
Is it likely to be live on the 24th?
Better be.
Okay.
If we're not, well, I think it would be a problem if we couldn't.
Well, that's what, because I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like I could buy a ticket now for the 24th.
I
Because-
don't think you, not for parking.
No, not even for the train.
Let me check the the other one. I've got my purple T. And buy tickets. Nope, you're right. Can't yet because they're not running yet.
That's where the chip
So
is.
you won't be able to buy a ticket until
Right, you can see the
then.
little-
That's what it looks like.
Okay, and so then
I'm
the,
gonna want
I know the
that.
schedules are out.
Yes,
Um,
they're on M-Ticket
So,
too.
so for planning,
Yeah, it
so
was
the other thing I
carting-
need to
carting
do is
around
get up that
there,
morning and
keep
hope
saying
that
you
the
get to
app
use
is
the
caught up
bus.
with the event.
So much easier.
Oh, it should be. I'm not concerned about that.
Okay. You're not, I am.
Well, I don't think you should be.
Okay,
I'll put it that way.
all right. But
This is really a really great app. It really has
I am, I'm
been,
looking at it right now. But then the question is, you can't do parking through this app.
no,
Okay, so that would have to be through a separate,
separate.
would that be through the MBTA app or
You just
a
had,
whole different system?
just had it.
Can't make it too simple.
Pay by phone.
Yeah, I wonder if I.
No,
that
there
comes
is
in
an
the
app.
MBTA.
Pay online. You can use the phone with
This
that
is a
phone
different-
number. You can
that's the
pay online.
MBTA app.
There's, if you go to MBTA, just hit the thing that says pay online.
Okay.
Oh, evidently there's a mail option too. Oh, no, that's for a parking ticket. Don't get those.
Okay. I'll see you afterwards to try and pick
Yeah.
that up.
Brayley Road.
And then, just as an aside, I brought a few of these in. I've been passing these out in schools everywhere. Operation Lifesaver is a federal program, railroad safety program. And I'm an OLAV, an Operation Lifesaver authorized volunteer. So it means I've been trained to deliver the safety messaging. So actually what we do is we hang out in school cafeterias at lunchtime. It's actually quite an effective way to get to the kids. So I just brought a few of these so you can see. In these brochures also, it talks about basic safety. It talks about the blue sign, which is so important. And then just basic, the safety messaging. So feel free to take one of these before you leave. And with that, thank you.